Y'all ready for this?
Okay.
All right, you guys good?
Whenever you're ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everybody.
Jeez, OP. Okay, so we're going to be here forever now.
This happened last time. This actually has only happened one time before where I started laughing.
And it took 15 minutes.
And it did take a while.
You can do it.
Don't edit it.
All right.
Keep this.
No, do not keep it. Actually, yes, keep this. We'll get this out. All right, 3, 2, 1. Hey, guys, and welcome back into the Be Different podcast. Brad Redford is here, as always, joined by my counterparts who look fantastic today. And, Greg, the last time I did this, you didn't show yourself on camera, so do it this time.
I'm on right now.
Okay, perfect. So, Greg, you're looking great today. I like the pocket on your shirt.
Thanks.
And Nick Given, congratulations for
my
being...
shirt, too.
Wow.
And you guys both have pockets. That's good.
Like your black shirt, Brad.
Thank you. This is actually a gift that was given to me.
Very nice
I'm a
gift.
big fan of the color black. So, but we're not here to talk about me or Greg or Nick or the shirts that we have right now. And I'm excited that we're going from beer talk to fitness and nutrition, which is something I'm a little bit more comfortable with. And we're doing this at Kayla Hansmann's house here in High Park, if that's okay if I say that.
Yes, you can disclose that.
And Kayla knows just about everything about nutrition, fitness, balanced diet, running, whatever you need to know. Kayla Hansmann is the person that you want to see and that you want to talk to. She's also known as, and maybe better known as, Cincy Fit Foodie here around Cincinnati. So, Kayla, thank you for having us here today.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for invading our home, and not invading in the best way. And just a few minutes ago, I learned I'm the first female audience, female interviewer. So big
Kayla's
shoes.
the first female on the podcast.
That's amazing.
I mean, this is
Big shoes to fill.
This is a monumental moment.
It's 2019. It's time that we change our ways here.
I mean, it's massive. And
Be different. Get out there.
Yeah,
find
exactly.
the women.
Absolutely. And if it's your first time listening to Be Different, and hopefully we have more female listeners that take a listen to this right now, like, please give us a follow too and give us a chance and go through our library of videos as well. And you can follow us at BeDFRNT, BeDFRNT on YouTube, and hit the subscribe button, and that helps us out a lot. No money. It's just go on YouTube and click it.
I mean, if you want to send us money, go ahead.
Yeah, if you want to send us money, we'll figure out how to do that as well. But Kayla, can you kind of dive in on your business structure? Because if people want to follow you, you have 2 businesses going on right now. One, I believe that you're doing more independently, and the other business venture is one that you're actually kind of a joint venture with your mother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, correct. So in terms of like the structure of everything, 2 different accounts, 2 different websites. Cincy Fit Foodie is kind of like my main nutrition hub for, again, fitness tips, fitness where I'm teaching and doing workouts, and then different nutrition topics, blog writing, some different, foods, recipes, brands, counseling, coaching. And then Milked Nutrition is a newer business with my mom, who's actually #1 volunteer. So she's
Wow.
okay. That's not giving her enough credit for what she does, because she does like a lot of everything. But I rescind that. She's not volunteer. She's my partner in crime, along with my dad, who is a lot of times not in the spotlight of doing as much, but I wouldn't be doing any of it without either one of them. So there's my #1 thank you to both of them for #1 pushing me into doing this, and 2 being the support. And because it wasn't just like, oh, hey, yeah, that's a good idea, you should do it, and then carry on with their life. Like, they're in it and grinding along with me. So yeah,
that's awesome. So, support's pretty important if you're going to go down any entrepreneurial path.
Yeah, and so before making that decision to be a true entrepreneur and go out on your own, how difficult was that decision and that process?
Pretty hard. It was kind of developed over some time. So I had moved back here to Cincinnati from Chicago in 2016. And in Chicago, I kind of started a little bit of like an entrepreneurial path with doing some fitness and nutrition at the local gym that I was teaching at. And then when I moved back here, I started at Children's Hospital and kind of like slowly started like chipping away at my hours there. I was full-time, and then I was part-time, and then I eventually just broke off completely. And I guess a lot of that too, the like support or like I guess the motivation to doing so. My brother's actually independent entrepreneur, and he's been doing that for I don't know, a couple years now. So seeing him do it and like be successful and be happy with it was like, okay, if he can do it, I can do it. Or at least try to do it. So,
and what does he do? What's his business?
So he is in, actually, I was going to say this earlier, as someone that you guys, could possibly connect with in the sports scene. Okay. So he does a lot with like sports media and, reporting and articles and things like that. So
that's awesome.
They're based out of San Francisco, but they're kind of weaving around. So
awesome. Well, I wanted to know more about kind of your journey to fitness and nutrition. So, before, diving in and becoming an entrepreneur and getting to that, it takes a lot of passion to decide to go ahead and move on to that kind of a lifestyle. So, growing up, and you grew up here in Cincinnati, went to college at St. Louis, went to Chicago for a while, and ultimately now back here. But kind of when did that start for you?
I guess it was, completely like in undergrad where I was an undecided major and I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And, still, I guess I'm figuring that out. But I didn't know nutrition was a major and I wasn't that involved with it. But St. Louis has a phenomenal health sciences program and like even more so nutrition. And I got to see so many things out there. I think the university at that time was kind of ahead of everything with like farm to table. We had a garden there. We had a cafe that was very student run. Again, fresh gatherings. We picked stuff from the garden, brought it in, made everything. And I really got to see the relationship with food and disease and athletes and performance and like just across the board, everything it could do. And then kind of moving into Chicago and my internship and rotations there, I did a marketing rotation. I did, different community site events, and I really got to see like the widespread like reach that, food affects everyone. And, I think being independent, like away from my parents, away from my family, like I had to like figure out how to feed myself and how to feel good. And I personally used to get sick all the time, like a cold every other week and just like bad immunity in general. And so I think it was, kind of a recurring, like realizing I wasn't taking care of myself, that like I, adopted that, great relationship with food and nutrition and exercise and all that. So
how did you figure out that relationship with food? Because I feel like, every person has a different body type and you see all these different diets, and something that works for me or works for Nick doesn't work for Greg.
Right. Yeah.
So like for you do you feel like you're in a place now where you're pretty consistent with and regimented with what you eat daily? And how long did that take for you to kind of figure out exactly how you wanted that to look?
Yeah. It, consistent is number one word there. Consistently persistent with the priority of making nutrition something that's like the centerfold. And I toyed around with a lot of different diets. Everyone has a diet. It's kind of a word that's shamed in a lot of places, like, oh, diet. Everyone eats. Dietary intake pattern is just, everyone's got it. So in undergrad, we were actually encouraged as we were learning about different diets to try them. So, I've done a paleo like diet. I've done keto, intermittent, like I've dabbled and tried all of them. And so it's, it's probably been over the course of like the past 8-10 years that I've like, finally gotten down to a system that works for me. And it's not something that I like promote or project onto anyone else. It's just like, hey, this is what works for me. And it took me a really long time to figure that out. And it's not going to say it's going to take you 5 years or 10 years, whatever, but it's consistently persistent and like realizing that like it takes a little bit of time, but if you're not devoting at least like an hour of your day to your wellness, then, you can expect that repercussions will ensue. So
can you take us through like a week of your eating habits? Are you okay with doing that?
Yeah, no, we can.
I'm like very curious about it.
So
am I the only one? I mean, I feel like
I'm always just generally curious about what people eat, and not only what they eat, but when they eat.
Okay.
When they stop eating, how many hours you give yourself before you go to sleep, when you feed, when you wake up. I'm very intrigued by, and then I'm also very intrigued by like, I don't know, we've been doing keto for like a month,
Mm-hmm.
and I equally hate and love it.
Yeah.
And so like, I'm trying
It's
to figure out.
appropriate.
Yeah, it's like the worst thing in the world, except for I feel great while I do it. So, but like
Well,
the restrictions of it are
it's so contrary to
BS.
like what we probably all grew up doing, where your plate was centered on pasta or grain. Like it was. When I work with clients or work with people, I'm like, you're never worried about like where your next carbohydrate's going to be. They're so pervasive that it's just like
They're everywhere.
it's yeah. I mean, it's crazy, and it's not to say that they're bad. I'm not. I don't shame foods. I don't shame like diet, like whatever. There's no. But carbohydrates are so pervasive that it's like it's hard to be keto in a lot of ways because they're out there. But again, people are evolving and adopting. So I guess what a typical week looks like for me. Weekends, I usually they're varied. Most people's are varied, but
Okay,
I
like to hear that.
yeah. That's, like the 15-20% of like my diet that is, a little bit more like splurge or whatever you want to call it. But when do I eat? This is something that has taken me a while to adopt, but I eat when I'm hungry. Sometimes I wake up and I do a 5 a.m. or a 5:30 workout and I'm hungry at 7 a.m. after that and I eat then. Sometimes I do a 6 a.m. workout and I'm not hungry till 10.
Do you work fasted?
Yeah. Yeah,
Always?
usually. Yeah. So I am not someone that think that my perception of like pre-workouts or like is, again, if you're hungry, eat. But again, eating on like a super full stomach isn't ideal. But as far as like some of the supplements and things that are out there, I don't really, my pre-workout, if anything, is black coffee. So a little bit of black coffee in the morning, a lot of water before coffee. And then I just listen to my body. And that sounds really cliche maybe, but again, it's, I do think that getting to that point, I did toy with intermittent fasting for a while, just because I think that as humans, we've kind of blunted our response to hunger cues, like completely 300%. We eat, in school, we're like, okay, you have to eat breakfast. Here's your lunch at this time. And so we just kind of blunt that. And so I did toy around with intermittent fasting for a while because it really helps your body kind of like regenerate those cues, listening to your stomach, tell your brain, all right, is this actual physical hunger that I am experiencing right now? Like something I usually tell clients or myself is if you're hungry enough to eat an apple right now, then you're hungry, you need some food. Most people just don't snack on apples just like for any number. Like it's not like, oh, I'm just going to like, chow down on all these apples just because. So it's a purposeful thing. So again, kind of using that hunger scale in my brain, like, okay, am I hungry or am I just bored and I need to go do something? But I don't work great if I'm hungry. So knowing myself, I, don't, go too long without eating. So with that said, within the day, I eat pretty consistently. Once I start eating, I will eat every 2 to 3 to 4 hours. So, and then I usually, don't like, and this is just for me, I can't sleep. Like I can feel like I'm just running if I had something like within an hour. So I usually try to, and that's not because I think that it's better for like metabolism if I don't eat within an hour. It's just like I physically can't fall asleep with food in my stomach. So
Yeah, fair. So how about like micro, like macronutrients? Like, do you watch those pretty heavily on your weekdays when you're a little bit more? It sounds like more stringent during the week and less stringent on the weekend.
Yeah. So yeah, to a degree for sure. So the way that I kind of approach meals is good source of protein, healthy fat, and some sort of fiber. So not necessarily like carbohydrate focus, but like more of like a fiber focus. So whether that's a fruit, a veggie, or a grain. But I'm definitely super mindful to get enough protein and to get enough fat. If not, I know I'm going to be starving. And that was kind of coming off of I did a lot with veganism in college. I guess that's a very cliche thing, right?
No, I did it for a year.
Yeah, and
I've never been close to it,
ate a
but-
crazy diet for a year. I ate a pound of raw vegetables a day, a pound of cooked
Wait,
vegetables.
when did you do this? I did
When I
not.
lived in Toledo, and then when I moved back here, when we moved to we started the business, I had to move back home.
So when you were bartending, you did this diet?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Pound of raw, pound of cooked, 5 servings of fruit. I went from
18 beers at nighttime. But
tons of alcohol. I was still drinking an absolute ton.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, really drinking a lot at that portion of my life. But like, I felt great on a nutritional level, and I always had so much energy. Like, I had to work out because I would have so much energy.
Yeah.
And then, basically, when I moved back home, it was so outside of my family's way of eating that eventually, like, I got
Just
back
kinda
shifted back. So I only ate fish for a while, and then one day I got drunk and ate a cheeseburger.
So the recent 90-day diet that you did, this is not necessarily a new thing for you. Like you're kind of accustomed to doing.
Correct.
Like
if I
diets.
decide I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. But
okay, so I tell everybody, what did you do over the last 90 days to lose?
Well, it was
30
only
pounds
supposed to be 75 days, but I kind of screwed up. So basically, it was a 75-day challenge. I heard from a podcast that I listened to called MFCEO, and it was to gain mental discipline. It had nothing really to do with nutrition, but it did come through it. So it was 2 workouts a day, 45 minutes each. One had to be outside, a gallon of water, very strict eating diet, 10 pages in a business development book. That's why I went to 90, because I forgot to read one day. So I had to restart, and like a progress pic. So I finished that on Saturday.
Wow.
And I think I was down as much as 35 pounds, but I think it ended at 32. And then in that too, I switched to keto. Not at the beginning, but in the middle, I switched to it, which was a very bad mistake. I should not have done that.
Why?
Because I went through keto flu in the middle of trying to work out twice a day, and that was absolutely brutal.
Yeah. Okay.
He listened to me. Greg listened to me bitch for just a week straight of just.
Listened is a strong term. It's more of like I heard it.
It was like a forced. It was a forced
Right.
hearing. Yeah, I mean, I know I was not a happy person. I was mad. I was angry. Overall, I was like glad I did the whole challenge.
Okay, but it sounds so. I want to take that and understand your philosophy on nutrition, because it sounds like now you have just more of like a balanced lifestyle and something that isn't necessarily a diet, but it's your everyday. It's just like when you eat, how you eat, what you're eating. It's just something that you're going to plan on doing. And then like, will you mix in different diets to see if, you enjoy it? Or do you feel like you're teaching more of a philosophy of, I want you to do this forever?
Yes.
Yeah.
Depends.
I hate that. But like, let's say, so if you came to me and you were like, hey, I want to do keto, I would ask you why and what you know about it. And like, I would somehow gauge like what state of like this decision-making process you're in. And I don't like to work honestly with people unless they're in like the active stage already, or I shouldn't say that, but like, so much of it, and to your point of this challenge being a mental challenge, like that's what it is. Like for the most part, like we all know like, okay, this is better than that. That's better than this. And there's definitely, a lot of expertise that I can bring with like, okay, well, this is what your macronutrients should look like. This is what you need on a micronutrient level, especially if you're going into keto and things like that. So I'm not trying to discredit the dietitian force by saying like, it's all mental, but I like to see people that they're like, I'm not going to waste your time. I don't want to waste, my time. Time is precious. So like seeing that they're like in the active, like, yep, I've already started doing this and that. And like, I want to get going. But again, as like a counselor and a coach, I know that that's, what I'm there for and the motivation and all that. Wait, so what was our question?
As far as like dieting.
Like, so like if you came to me and you're like, I want to do keto, we would talk through like what your day-to-day looks like, if it's, reasonable, if it's achievable, and like what you know about it and like why it is you want to do something like that. If you came to me and you were like, I want to, be a vegan 5 days a week, we would talk about why you want to do that. Like there's research out there to support any number of these diets. And I think it's just whatever diet's best, it's what you're going to do. But with that said, if you're like, hey, I want to be keto for, 100 days and then I'm going to kind of go back to my regular life. Again, that's a topic we have to talk about, because I think that some of these things are, a good kickstart to that lifestyle. But again, it's being purposeful, it's being intentful about that. Because again, don't want you to like do keto really well for 100 days and then all of a sudden, you kind of revert back to old ways and, kind of just cycle around in that. So it's definitely being intentful and purposeful for those reasons.
It's like not looking at it like it's just a goal to finish keto for 3 months and then just go back to what you were doing previously. So it sounds like if you have a plan of a diet, it's great as long as you're going to follow through, but then probably have that lifestyle plan after. That's maybe a little bit more feasible and reasonable with your schedule.
Yeah. And there's definite, keto for life, and that's like I applaud and salute that if that's definitely a lifestyle for some people for sure. So
I have a very important question.
Okay, yeah, what's that?
In your vast knowledge of all foods, what singular food is the best?
The best.
One you only have one.
If you're saying if you could only have one food the rest of your life,
No. She has to pick the best food that you can eat for your body.
You?
Yeah,
okay.
like for you.
Like something that you would eat every single day,
Just
no matter
anything.
Water.
Anything.
Besides water.
Besides
Can we
water.
go besides water?
Did you know that was going to be my answer? My initial inclination is actually something that kind of surprises me. I would say possibly something like quinoa or chocolate milk.
Quinoa, that's all.
And only because
quinoa and chocolate milk
I
is
would
it.
pick something, quinoa and chocolate milk together. No. So I would pick something that has like a balance of nutrients. So it's got carbohydrates, it's got fat, and it's got protein. So that, everything all together. Because, spinach is great. And that's probably something that I eat every day, spinach, blueberries, salmon. But those aren't all complete. They don't give you every single macronutrient.
Quinoa and chocolate milk.
So can you? So you just said spinach, and you said you eat salmon almost every day, or close to it, and you've also said like now 2 or 3 times like you get in a lot of healthy fats.
Yeah.
Will you talk about that? Because I feel like a lot of people think that fat is bad.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I
don't know why I think it's not, but I think you're a lot smarter than me. So
yeah, and to add on that, not to like overtake the question, but like when you go to the grocery store, like your weekly, what are you grabbing to satisfy that? So
kind of my approach to, and we'll touch on the fat thing too. My grocery cart should look like what I want my plate to be. So usually I start and I'm like pretty heavy in the produce section. I rotate with fresh produce. I do some canned items as well as frozen. So to kind of like get me through the week again, but at least more than half my cart is fruits and vegetables, whether that's fresh, frozen, or canned. And then usually 2 to 3 different types of proteins, usually like a salmon, chicken sausage, something like that. And then like a turkey or egg or something in those realms. And I am intentful about fats too with nuts or, different types of oils. And, with fats, fats are protective, fats are cushion, fats are essential, especially in certain periods of our life. So I work with a lot of moms and soon to be moms, and fat and omega-3 specifically is super important for inflammation in our body as well as brain development. So with children, so it's a very essential nutrient. And where fat gets a bad rap is, again, in the saturated and the processed fats, as well as there's a lot of, research out there about the standard American diet gets way too much of the omega-6 fatty acids that's in certain types of oils versus the omega-3s. So it's kind of just like a shift in that like mentality to, amp up the omegas with some of those fatty fishes and different types of oils versus, some of the omega-6s. And but again, like, if you're thoughtful about the dairy you choose, high fat dairy, like that's all I eat is high fat, regular whole milk. And I don't usually drink whole milk, but with baking and everything like that, like it's get the fat in, like it's what keeps you full. It's what adds flavor to foods. So it's really kind of what makes like some of those like healthy dishes actually taste good. And like you leave and you're like, okay, I don't need any more because I'm full. I'm good.
Yeah.
So
actually satiated and like filled.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. So there is a question that I want to ask, and then I have 10 health questions for Kayla that we're going to run through and spark some conversation. But this one, I'm just, because I was looking at all the vitamins that I have, and I have like I have everything pretty much there. But
Yeah.
like I have these fruit snacks that are like my B12 fruit snacks. Like,
Okay.
are they really like giving me B12? Because there's like sugar on top of them, and they're unbelievable. And if
You think
like
they're good?
I mean, they're so
Unbelievable good.
I would like
taste,
6
they
a
taste
day.
good.
Like
So-
I would, if I could, like I would eat 100 of these things. And is that okay? That's where I'm getting my B12 from something that
No.
tastes that good? Oh, that's
No.
not good.
Well, okay,
So,
it's actually
okay.
really funny you asked me this because I just did a new segment on B12 because B12
Way to
is
do
one
your
of,
homework, Brad.
No. I didn't know if this is like he saw this, so he was like, "Oh yeah, this could be a good question."
No, but this is.
I don't
so
know.
I have these like.
He just
calcium
winked at me, so I think he did do his homework.
But you know where I get them from Kroger, and I go in there and I
Yeah.
got all these gummies, all these adult gummies, and I'm like, I love it. I get up in the morning and I'm just like pounding gummies.
Oh gosh. So I guess too, like my recommendations with multivitamins are it's kind of an insurance policy. You know, if you're not getting it from fruits, vegetables, whole grain, like, you know, antioxidants in your diet, vitamins in your diet, then, you know, turn to food. Or sorry,
Turn to the gummies.
then turn to the gummies, the food. So it's kind of like insurance. Like if you like typically like on the weekends, you know, you're not as balanced, you're not as like well-rounded, multivitamin, or, you know, for women, calcium, vitamin D, most people should be taking, especially in Cincinnati. But B12 actually is not super readily absorbed from supplements. It's for whatever reason on that absorption level, our bodies prefer it from food. It could be like less than 1/10 of it's actually absorbed from a supplement. So,
Interesting.
I heard a lot of supplements aren't actually absorbed very well.
yeah.
Unless it's like more liquid nutrition, then it gets in your body a little bit better. But even then, it's better to
So
do
it's
it through
always
food.
better to get it from natural food, essentially.
Yeah, for sure.
Not that the vitamins are bad, and not that I don't have to
You can
enjoy
just
my
keep eating them
gummies
as long
every
as you,
morning. I
if
can
it makes
still
you
have
happy,
them.
Brad.
Yeah.
If it makes you happy.
It's kind of something I look forward
Look
to.
forward to. I mean, I do have some gummies as well because
Thank
sometimes you just want the gummy. It's fine.
And it makes me
Okay.
feel like I'm a little bit more healthy than eating a fruit snack. So
I do have another question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
So
remember, we have 10 left.
I know. But I'm I see all this stuff on the internet when I look for things in my little YouTube binges on nutrition. But like eating for your body type, we kind of talked about it, but didn't go down into it.
Yeah.
So like endomorph, ectomorph, stuff like that. Is that completely true? With like you have to eat for your body type or no?
I think I would usually typically say no. Our bodies are super smart and they adapt to change. So even with like eating schedules, like, you know, for people that don't eat breakfast and they're like, I'm not hungry in the morning. If you start eating on a regimen, your body starts like expecting nutrients, and on a regimen, it just kind of like adapts and changes. So I would say in like 90% of the cases, no, your body will like learn and adapt, and like, you know, your cells will kind of like tweak and, you know, react to what it's, yeah. So we're reactive, and I don't think it's a bad idea to do that. Like I wouldn't spend like hundreds of hours researching it and like buying things and trying it out just because it's science, because it's not really.
Oh yeah.
100%. So, but
Honestly, it confuses the hell out of me.
yeah.
So
I was gonna say,
that's
I
why I
don't-
asked you.
Well, it probably depends on your goals too.
Yeah.
Like if you're
Correct.
wanting to gain a lot of muscle mass and you're doing a
Yeah.
ton of weightlifting and then you're mixing cardio, you need to eat maybe 1,000 to 1,500 more calories a day than compared to someone who's trying to lose weight. So I think maybe more in the body type. Maybe it's more of like what do you want to look like?
Specific goals for sure.
Yeah, like are you opening up GQ and like want to be the guy in the middle?
Do I want to be at 5% body fat? No.
So I mean, that's what I'm
That just
saying.
sounds
I'm
like
just-
an
I mean,
awful process of life.
But if that's what you want to do, I mean, Kayla can help you get there.
Yeah.
Right?
We'll talk offline.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
We'll get my credit card out.
Yeah.
And we'll
I
start
feel
this
like this
coaching
conversation could be like 3 hours.
Oh,
long.
absolutely.
It's actually
Yeah.
really hard to like fine tune
Limit.
it to like
Yeah.
limited questions. But we did prepare 10 health questions for Kayla, and these are just some fads, trends, maybe some comical questions that we thought that you could answer.
Yeah.
And you can. This can be a one-word answer. You can elaborate as much as you want, but these are just 10 health questions with Kayla Hansmann,
Okay.
a.k.a.
Shoot.
Cincy Fit Foodie, a.k.a. co-owner of Milk Nutrition. All right, question 1, water. Water is key, I think, and you've already touched on it, but to prevent dehydration, you need to drink 8 8-ounce glasses a day.
Was this true or false? Sorry, I'm
No.
really feeling.
Well, no.
False.
Okay.
I'm making it a true or false question. So general rule of thumb, half your body weight in water. And then I would say add on another 8 ounces for any.
So it's more.
Wait.
Half your body weight in ounces, right? Is what you mean. Not half your body weight.
Half your body weight in ounces. Yes, not half your body.
Because half your body weight in water is
It's a lot of
Okay.
pounds.
Yeah.
That's a lot of water. Half your body weight in ounces. Yes. Body weight in pounds divided by 2. So if you weighed 200 pounds, 100 ounces a day. So that's more
Oh,
than.
nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So it actually is more.
It is more.
Okay.
And then I usually, if like you're like super, hyper fixated on a number and I usually say add in like 16 extra ounces at least if you're doing physical activity or more, like usually before and after, and then add in another like 8 ounces or so for every caffeinated beverage you drink.
So I was right on the money with
So
a
everybody
gallon.
drink more water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you crazy.
Just don't stop.
You
Just
crazy
don't
corporate
stop.
people.
And I always usually say like don't like framing it not to prevent dehydration, but to stay hydrated. Like,
I got one of the bottles that tells me when I have to drink.
Those are
so.
helpful. Or set an alarm on your phone, or like just some people just actually need all the bottles filled up, like already ready. 'Cause, environment is everything, and like tricking ourselves into doing stuff is key. So
Gotta play games all the time.
I get it.
Man, so if you're drinking 10 cups of coffee a day, you need to be drinking a ton of water.
Yeah.
Really, anybody listening, just drink more
Drink
water
more.
and stop asking questions. Okay, question 2. True or false? If you live in OTR, you have to be on a keto or paleo diet.
true.
That is
True.
It's
Scientific. It's scientific.
The zip code of I would say 45202. Everyone in that realm has to.
Yeah, you have to be. You
Makes
have
sense.
to be. Okay, all right, perfect. We're going to move on. That was an easy one. Okay. Counting calories is essential to any successful meal plan. Got to know your calories. I guess that we can say this is true or false.
I think
True.
so. Usually, I don't fixate on calories, but I think a general awareness is key. Like if you pick up a bag and it says it's 250 calories, okay, is that a quarter of my day's intake, or is that, like just having again, like there's a lot of like shame and hate for people who are like, oh, well, they're counting it like that's bad. But like, how much money you have in your bank account, what that budget is. Like having, again, a general healthy awareness of, what your body needs is important. So having that knowledge, and then, kind of what you do from it on a day-to-day basis is,
Where should people go to find that out? Should they go to you, or where? How do you? I've never counted my calories.
Ever.
yeah.
I mean, never.
Well,
And I'm
so-
Literally
I
never.
mean, I played basketball in college.
You work out pretty often. You
I
never.
I work out
Yeah,
4 or
so-
5 times a week. I've never counted my calories. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm completely
So-
gambling here.
I don't necessarily think you have to like count them. Like I think because the estimation is usually so off. But there's certain equations online that you could like plug your information in, but I like really had like urge against that because you'll get 8 different answers from 8 different search engines. So yeah, going, to a dietitian or, health expert. And I use that term, more loosely than I probably should, but there's nutritionists, there's dietitians have license, sure. So we're regulated by the state, but there's also nutritionists out there that have a PhD in nutrition and they studied for like 20 years. So again, there's a lot of credibility out there. So like looking at someone's experience and who they've worked with and what they've done. So going to someone like if you are someone that, again, what are your goals? Are your goals to like meet certain whatever it is? Then you would want to know that number and be able to kind of gauge off that. But, for someone like you probably have gotten a good sense of like what your body needs and eating when you're hungry and, fueling off that maybe.
I like pizza
Maybe.
too much. But anyways,
I had pizza yesterday. It was
God,
awesome.
pizza's so good. What's your favorite pizza in the city?
Mine.
Yeah. Can you eat? Are you?
Oh
Kayla,
yeah,
Are
I
you
eat
allowed
pizza.
to eat pizza?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Kind of a tie between Betta's and
Oh, Betta's is good.
Betta's is so good. And I
What?
just-
What was that
Bettas?
place we had on
Yep.
Columbia Parkway?
Yep, over in
no,
Norwood.
Taglio.
Ron
Taglio's
Xavier's
kind of my
campus.
go-to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's really
Taglio.
Taglio's my jam.
See, I like Dewey's too. I think
I was
I think
gonna say
Dewey's is a little
Dewey's is-
underrated.
I like Bubs
because
too.
it's
Give me a little Bubs.
everywhere. Well, Bub's Pizza.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like.
Well, Bub's
Dewey's,
tastes better after 2.
Yeah. Okay.
but I'm a Chicago person. I should. I live
Do you
in
like the
Chicago,
deeper dish?
so the deep dish is my favorite.
Is there a good deep dish around here? No.
I was about to say Uno's has it, but that's not the same. So
Well, if you're listening and you know of a good deep dish spot in Cincinnati,
holler.
let us
Actually,
know.
So Pie Pizza used to be downtown where Wahlburgers is now, and that was actually a St. Louis restaurant that opened up here because I think the owners were from Cincinnati. It apparently people didn't like it because it's R.I.P. But that was my favorite here.
Bummer.
When it was here.
bummer. But we have to move on to question 4.
Okay.
And because we were talking about pizza, we're going to go to carbs. So true or false, to lose weight, I need to avoid carbs?
False.
False.
Okay.
Yeah. So I
Did you think that'd be true?
No.
Okay.
We just
Well,
had
I
to-
mean, it
I
could,
wanna
I
know-
mean, it
I'm
could
just-
be if you don't want to work out, right? Or you need carbs
Yeah.
either way.
I mean, no. Even on a keto diet, you get 25 grams, 50 grams, whatever it is. Your particular. So your body, it's an essential macronutrient. So cutting it out completely, usually not recommended or suggested by any health professional. But again, it's being mindful of them. Again, we talked about this before. They're so pervasive that it's just, I forget who posted this the other day, but they were like, my chicken breast at whatever restaurant it is actually still has like 5 to 6 grams of carbs. So it's like plain chicken breast. So it's just like, keeping an eye open on that.
Okay. All right. We're moving on to abs because everybody wants a nice 6-pack of abs. So are abs truly only made in the kitchen? All you really have to be worried about is in the kitchen and some genetics.
What do you guys think?
I think abs are very genetic based.
I think some people's are, but I think it's
gen-
working.
I
I mean, if you work out your core all the time, you're probably gonna have abs.
genetics and food.
I think it's like 85% kitchen.
Yeah, I like that number.
I think genetics play a role, and I definitely think working out, if you never go do a core exercise,
Well, abs are one of those things that, like, if you were just, a pretty avid runner, like, it's genetic, but like usually getting abs isn't something you necessarily have to like strength train for. Perhaps it is something that like people are going to be like hating me for saying that. But like, again, it's something that like, cardio and running will get you that other, muscle won't show per se. I don't know. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, you have
abs.
you have to like manipulate your skin to see abs. You have to lose a lot of body fat.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe everyone's is different for that. Some people will show it under 10%. Some won't show until much under that. Some
Yeah.
will show it. I've done some research on
Yeah,
this.
and then we're going down genetics.
Yeah, but
sounds like you've been really trying to get those abs to pop out a little bit based
Well,
on the
you
way you're
wanna-
answering this question.
I was always wondering what a good body fat percentage was, like, because I never really knew. So, for instance, before I did the last like 90 days or whatever, I didn't. Did you think I was overweight?
I never thought you were overweight.
But so what I'm saying though is like if you type in like my height, weight, like BMI for
Yeah.
like insurance standards, everything, like I was considered overweight, 6'3", 222, 225, overweight, and like I don't think that I had a decent athletic build, so like I didn't think that like I was considered overweight.
Right.
But so
Yeah,
when
it
you look
does-
at those calculators and stuff like that, then all of a sudden you're like, what the hell?
They said I was overweight at 6 foot 190.
Yeah.
They said I'm like technically an overweight person.
Right.
And
And
it's
like
just
for
like-
for males, it's especially skewed because BMI doesn't incorporate muscle percentage, so it's skewed. But
Yeah, so that's why I
Okay.
was so intrigued by that number, because I was like, this doesn't make any sense to me. I feel like I'm relatively healthy besides the amount of alcoholic beverages I put in my body on a monthly basis. But besides that, I felt like I was doing pretty good. But
so in this 90, let's go back to that because alcohol is something that like is pervasive for a lot of people and a hindrance for weight loss. So have you drank in the past night?
well, I drank yesterday for the first time
Wow,
in like 90 days.
how'd that feel?
Drinking? How did drinking feel?
How'd the alcohol affect you? Or like, how'd you
I mean,
feel?
I was drunk. I mean, my girlfriend and I cooked breakfast in the morning, and I had a mimosa. And like after the mimosa, I could like feel it in my face, and I was like, I'm screwed today. But yeah, it felt good.
Yeah.
Except for like I drank a normal amount for me, and I was hammered.
Yeah.
So, and then honestly, like I have no intention of drinking for a minute. Well, I'm going to drink a beer tomorrow at Fretboard. Check it out.
Oh,
but
yeah. When you probably felt horrendous the next day too.
I did
would
not feel
imagine.
great this morning, but I also think it's because a part of like me not feeling good this morning is because I had pizza and sushi yesterday. So I hadn't had a carb outside of a fibrous carb or a nut in 30 days.
Wow.
So, and then I had a cheeseburger today, and I'm going to eat pizza when we leave. And then tomorrow I'm going to go back into my diet. But yeah, like I just wanted to, I went without so many things for so long that I just kind of like splurged. And then this morning I felt like crap, and I was like, I'm going to do it again.
Everybody
really
listening to this podcast is probably running to get a pizza right now.
Yeah.
We've literally been talking about
Well, it's
pizza
so
for
good.
the last,
Pizza's
like, 10
amazing.
minutes.
So I think, yeah, like it's just one of those things. Like, so I think it's a combination of A, alcohol, and B, I've had no energy all day. And I think it's because of carbs. I don't think carbs are bad. I think if you're on a ketogenic diet and you eat a bunch of carbs, you're not going to feel great
Yeah,
though.
no, not at all.
So,
Well, I do have a keto pizza recipe that you might be interested in.
ooh, cauliflower.
Oh.
No, it's a meatza, chicken crust. Real good food.
we read about these, and it
Yeah.
blows my mind.
So Real Good Foods is actually a brand at the store you can buy. They have chicken crust pizzas, or like you could do the same kind of thing with like cheese or egg and manipulate. You could put cauliflower in there. So I did that yesterday because I hate wasting food, and so I like repurpose like crazy. And I had some chicken breast, and I don't love just eating chicken breast, whether it's on a salad, like I can mix it in, but I was like, why don't I make a pizza with this? So you just blend it all up, put it on a pan, cook it, and then add your toppings and finish. So it's good.
I wanted to tear up my kitchen next week.
That actually sounds. I've actually never heard of that, so it's something I definitely would want. I've never heard of that.
Yeah. So so Real Good Foods is a brand you can go and you can buy it and whatever, but then like very easily make your own.
Okay.
So try it out and then.
All right, I'll try
Experiment.
that instead of the doughy pizza I eat weekly. Okay, breakfast. Is it the most important meal of the day?
Yes.
You sound so
I
confident.
say everything reluctantly because I feel like there's so much
You can-
gray area in a lot
Right.
of these questions.
Well, so yes, in my, it does kind of set the tone for your day, and it is the first meal you've had after however many hours of not eating something. So, getting a good source of energy, good just balance of nutrients is super helpful to kind of like, again, set that tone because breakfast, especially pervasively in America, is predominantly like carb laden. And so, a lot of when we kind of have like an unsatisfying breakfast, it's a frustrating thing. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to eat my hand off by 10 o'clock. And so then you're just like kind of go down a rabbit hole. So I do think it's a good start to the day. It sets the tone. It's, I don't know. It literally does break your fast from the night before and like kind of start your body off on a good note. So I'm going to say it's, most important.
I like that.
But like when you eat breakfast, it doesn't like that varies.
So are you just saying the first time that you eat, that's the most important? So
Yeah.
whatever you're putting in your body to start your day, make sure you're putting something good in there.
Yeah.
Not just like all 10 waffles and
I think it gives you
Syrup.
momentum too, though.
Yeah.
yeah.
But
If you
you
eat
could-
a good, healthy first meal,
Yeah.
I feel like you're probably more likely to eat a healthy second meal.
Yeah.
Well, the nice thing, like I feel like if I get up and I eat a big breakfast at like 6 a.m. or 6:30 a.m., then I don't need to eat until like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. So I get a ton of work done during that time. And
Yeah.
I
You're a
don't-
big breakfast guy. Seeing
Yeah.
Brad without breakfast, whew.
well, okay, yeah, because we used to shoot the podcast at like 5 in the morning. And so we did that for about 9 months. And then
You got people to wake up and do it with you at 5?
incredibly,
Kind of.
yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
yeah. Sometimes it was waiting around till 7.
We
but
could
I
maybe-
would do that. I mean, I'm an early riser.
Yeah, we could do like a morning routine with Kayla maybe down the road. And we could do
Yeah.
like a 4 a.m. Wake up, what do you eat?
I'm in.
Yeah, something like that. It'd be good. All right. Yoga or Pilates? Which one do you prefer?
I prefer Pilates, but I should do yoga more.
I've done Pilates one time, and there was all these like small muscles in my butt that were sore for like
for
month.
a really long time.
I was holding these like really awkward poses, and I thought it was gonna be easy, and like everyone was like kicking my ass in the class, and like my leg would like start here, and it would just like keep falling down as I was doing it. I didn't realize how difficult it was.
So I don't know, a fusion of the both of them I like, because stretching is so important and very underutilized by myself and probably most of the population. But, Pilates is super great for like core strengthening. And again, your core is your center, and that's where being able to be mobile and do it. Both of those exercises help you do everything else better. So
I did hot yoga once and I almost threw up.
So I used to do hot yoga 2 times a week.
Really?
Yeah, in college, because my hips were so bad.
Did Lori Allen do those?
I couldn't tell you.
Oh, okay.
I had like 5 different yoga instructors over like 5 years.
Okay.
I feel like every year in college, because we had to do it for basketball.
Yeah.
So like in the off season, they would have us do 2 times a week, and then because like I had such bad hips, they would have me go like multiple times. So yeah, but I can't.
Lori Allen used to do. Maybe she still does with XU basketball, but maybe not back then.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, we used to do it like at the Cintas Center, and then we went to a studio. So I don't know how often they're doing it currently, but I used to really enjoy it, but my hips still suck. All right, for people lifting weights out there that want to bulk up, is leg day by far the most important day each week?
I guess it depends on. Oh God, I keep doing that. Leg day should be every day.
Oh,
really? Wow.
No, you need to recover. But
it's almost Squat-tober. I'm gonna squat every day in October.
Okay, I'll do that with you. 100 a day.
You gonna do that with me?
100 squats a day.
100 of how much weight?
Whatever. I mean,
135 a day.
Okay.
At 100.
Down.
100
Every
reps.
day.
Okay.
Okay.
Squat-tober?
Squat-tober.
Are we documenting this?
I mean, I'm not gonna film it.
Do
but
it on your phone.
accountability.
Yeah, accountability, and send it to me every day.
Okay.
I want to see you squatting every day.
How about on
October.
Snapchat?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
Hey, you can send it however you want. I don't know why we're whispering right now.
Yeah, I don't
All
either.
right. All right. So what were you going to say about leg day?
I mean, so I guess me being a female answering this question is probably different than like if you had like a male in the seat. Like, but typically people that are, I'm not going to generalize, but
Yoked?
yeah, they're very upper body centric focused, right? Ish.
Yeah.
So, being able to do basic squat, lunge, all of those different basic movements are super important for, again, just being well rounded. So I would say, yeah, we're going to say leg day is the most important. Weave it in every day that you are doing strength training.
Okay.
So
right.
not every day, but yeah, it should be a part of your routine.
All right.
For sure. You're
You're on question 9. You're almost there. Okay. Strength training is more important than cardio.
Yes. Gosh, I really
Wait, why do you
doing
say
well
that?
on these.
Why do you say that?
Well, no, I guess I would say that I would probably tell that to females, that strength training should be as prioritized as cardio, because, look at the gym, like go walk into any gym and you'll see like the ellipticals and the bikes and the treadmills, 90% female. You go downstairs, 90% male. That tide should shift a little bit, and more emphasis should be placed on strength training and, number one, not being afraid to go lift more than like 2 pounds of weight. Because again, it's not what you burn in the gym is, yes, that's cardio, that's high action. But like if you want to, have a high metabolism outside of the gym, that's where strength training comes in, like period. So not to say cardiovascular effects of your heart aren't important, but again, you get some cardio in from lifting heavier weights. So
Okay.
we'll go with that.
This is your last question of the 10-question marathon with Kayla here. Pre-workout, and you kind of did mention it already in the interview, but is it something that you believe in?
No. Coffee.
No? Oh, man. I don't know that I can work out without pre-workout.
That's in your head.
I'm addicted to it. No,
That's
it's
in
not
your
just
head.
in my head,
I don't-
because I take it, and I get so pumped up, and I get my blood going.
That's
and
what I'm
my
saying, though.
forehead
That's
gets
in-
hot,
that's
and
in your-
I love that feeling.
Oh, you like drink like a heavy,
Yeah,
like
like
nice
I'm-
and one.
yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
gonna.
Yeah. Like I like a little C4. I like a little Mr. Hyde. and I shake it up in like 10 minutes. All I want to do is pick up a 45-pound plate and just toss it across LA Fitness.
So maybe like a high quality pre-workout is
okay.
I would.
But they're probably not good for you.
I don't think they're good for you.
Yeah.
I just
but
want,
I don't really
maybe
know
not super
anything.
great for your
I
heart
really
and-
want you to tell me that pre-workout is good for me.
Yeah, he just
That's
wanted you
what
to.
I was like.
He just
looking
wanted you
for.
to validate his
Validation
bad
here.
decisions.
Yeah,
Sorry, I can't
but
do
it sounds
that.
like you're not going to do that. Okay,
No.
well, we've kind of kept you a little bit longer than what we had previously discussed. So,
That's okay.
um,
I'm home, so.
okay, yeah, that is true. We have to pack up and then take this out of here. So,
Yeah.
fellas, do you have anything you want to end on here? I know we have the question we end with every person we interview. We have the same question, but Nick and Greg, is there anything you want to get off your chest here?
I don't have any questions, but
Okay.
I thank you for the education.
Oh, okay, good.
I will take it all to heart.
Perfect. Good.
And he's gonna drink more water.
Yeah,
Drink more.
water.
If you took anything from the podcast,
Water.
it's like, please
That's it.
pump more water in.
I mean, my main question is just anything you wanted to plug about your business?
Just reach out. I mean, I love partnering with people in Cincinnati, whether it's, one-off things, ongoing things, and, really just trying to build up the consulting portion within corporate wellness. So I've been doing a lot more of that, which has been great because, again, meeting people where they're at, taking out that barrier of like one more thing you have to do after work. So I've really enjoyed meeting people in the corporate space and working with different, wellness committees on how to like kind of build up and amp up that space. So that's probably a plug. And then also just, with Milked, we, we're definitely a very niche product in that we make our products for moms, pregnant and breastfeeding, but we're also like, it's just a good balanced, non-processed snack or treat for anyone else. So we're kind of weaving into some local businesses. So if you guys own any coffee shops or, businesses, gyms, and you want to sell our products, holler. Or I guess also putting this out there into the world, if you're a business consultant or strategist and you want to help me guide my businesses, that would be great. Because, sometimes we're just, winging it and figuring it out as we go. So,
And what's the best way for them to contact you?
probably on Instagram or email, Cincy Fit Foodie or cincyfitfoodie@gmail.com. My website is also that, Cincy Fit Foodie with a Y. Cincy with a Y. So that too many times now, and now the name sounds
No, it's okay.
annoying.
No, they get it.
They get it. They got it.
We say be different 1,000 times. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why
Fair
we have
enough.
to continue to spell it out too, because people still spell it
Yeah.
all the way out on YouTube, and then they never find us, and then it's kind of a slight issue, but it's okay.
Working with it. Yeah.
Anyways, no, thank you so much for having us in your home. Like, we had a great time talking with you. I think that was pretty apparent by the questions that we had. But we do finish with this question for every person that we interview. Our name is Be Different, and we're all about reaching out to people, especially here in Cincinnati, to talk about what they do, why they do what they do, and we obviously had a great interview with you today. But as far as people wanting to reach out to you and how you're going to kind of separate yourself in the fitness industry locally, and then maybe down the road really spread out, what makes you different for people that are going to go ahead and follow you and buy into what you're doing?
Yeah. I think I am pretty well diversified, and, also like diversified in the approach of like, I have a wide array of interests and passions, and like love, exploring those with people. And, along the way I've kind of evolved as like a teacher and in different capacities. And I love people, like I love the learning process. And I think that that's really, I don't want to just like spout off a bunch of different things. So with my clients, with people I'm working with, I am very like action driven with that. And so it's like, going into the home with them, showing them how to cook, how to prep, go to the grocery store. So it's like very a learning, action driven environment, and teaching them these different things. And again, being pragmatic in that it's, not going to be a one size fits all approach. So, being diversified in the field that I can like adapt to many situations. And I'd like to think I'm approachable, because I know it's a very vulnerable space, talking about nutrition and like opening up to someone about like different habits and being honest about them can be hard. So I'd like to think that like, I'm hopefully not scary and, intimidating to relate with
maybe
on
a little
that.
bit.
So
No, I don't think you're scary.
I don't think you're scary.
You're good. You're good.
If you need a confirmation on that, you're 3 for 3 here.
Okay,
so.
perfect.
So no, that was awesome. So thank you so much. And as far as the Be Different podcast is concerned, for Brad Redford, Nick Given, and Greg Witchard, we are out of here.